So we're standing here in the spin room with Governor Mike Huckabee's daughter, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, minutes after the debate. What did you think about tonight?
I don't think it could have gone any better. Donald Trump hit an absolute home run, total knockout. Hillary Clinton looked rattled. Donald Trump looked presidential, and I thought it was a really great night for him.
What did you think about particularly the first 30 minutes of the debate? With there was a lot of personal shots flung around on both sides. Was that something that needed to happen for us to be able to move on to the topics, or was it unnecessary?
I think it was something that probably needed to happen. I think it was going to happen at some point. Might as well get it out in the first 30 minutes. And I also think it was important for Hillary Clinton to be challenged. She's had 30 years in government, 30 years of failure, and this is the first time I think anybody has really and aggressively challenged her. And when they did, she completely fell apart, and I think that's a really important and telling thing that America got to see tonight.
This was a much different performance from Donald Trump than the first debate. Is this Donald Trump, the candidate? Is what we saw tonight a more true representation of the man than what we saw the first time around?
I think so. I mean, tonight I think he was perfectly on point. He was strong. He was presidential. He was focused. He was disciplined. This is the Donald Trump that I think a lot of us that work on the campaign get to see day in, day out. And I'm glad that the rest of America got to see it tonight, too.
What did you think of the debate overall? The format, the moderators, the questions. Did it go the way that you wanted it to go? Was it a fair debate? What did you think?
I thought for the most part it was pretty fair, but I mean, again, I think the moderators, it's tough to be a Republican with the media. I mean, no offense to you guys, but I mean, Donald Trump had a 3-on-1 debate tonight, a lot of the debate. Every time he went 1 second over, they interrupted, and I think that's just a real disservice to the American people for the moderators to try to play such a big role in the debate instead of just letting the candidates be the real stars.
Last question. Did you think it was interesting? let me rephrase it. I think many of us here in St. Louis thought that there would be a question that revolved around Ferguson. I think we were all sort of waiting for that discussion, and it never happened. Did it need to happen? And do you think that Donald Trump made any gains as far as getting support from the African American community, the Latino community, and other minorities?
You know, there were a couple questions about unity, not Ferguson specifically, but I think it was somewhat addressed. And although the debate takes place in Missouri, there's certainly millions of Americans tuning in from all over. And so I think the focus was to try to make it broad-based, and that issue was addressed. I thought he did an excellent job talking about how he would empower minorities, not push them into boxes like Democrats tend and often want to do, bringing our country together. He wants to be a president of all the people, not just one specific group, and not, frankly, just people that voted for him. I think Hillary Clinton's comment about the millions of supporters that Donald Trump has, calling them deplorable and irredeemable, shows her utter contempt for anybody that doesn't support her. And she did the same thing with Bernie Sanders supporters, calling them basically lazy people that live in their parents' basements. I think that we've seen time and again examples of how if they're not supporting her, they're not voting for her, she wants nothing to do with them. And I think it's going to be really hard for her to be a good president of all of America when she feels that way about so many millions of Americans.
Thank you so much.